Hi, it's Mary Ellen O'Neill Madeley with Agilec, and once again we're doing an interview with one of our amazing Innisfil businesses that is part of our Empowering Through Employment. Today we're here with Scott, who's with Alcona Esso, and we are talking about the different people that we work together to place in your business.
Absolutely.
And I've seen on a regular basis success stories with your business, and that's one of the reasons that I really wanted to interview you, because you have this way of connecting with candidates, and you also are not one of those employers that is wishy-washy. You have to work. You're not coming into the business and just getting to slack off, because you are constantly busy. One of the questions that I had for you was, why is it that you got involved with Agilec, and what is it that you have found to be a benefit to working with candidates?
One of the big things was when we call, say, 5-10 people to interview, probably 5 would show up, maybe 4 or 6 wouldn't show up, and then they just weren't a proper suit. And needless to say, kind of wasted my time. I blocked out 5 hours for these people to show, and they'd either be no shows or be late before they even got to the interview. So with Agilec, they do all the interviewing, and they know exactly what I'm looking for because they have my whole criteria of an employee. And then I do the final interview, and she'll just give me 3 people and seem to be golden, you know, and save me a lot of time and wasted time.
Right. They don't always end up staying at an employer. Sometimes it's not the right fit. We had a candidate at one employer, and it just wasn't the right fit. The candidate thought that was what he wanted to do. He thought that that was the industry that he wanted to be a part of, but it ended up not being that. And he ended up applying here and has been thriving. It's been wonderful to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy had no experience whatsoever in this field at all, but the big thing, he had a good attitude and was willing to learn. And you know what, the guy shows up every single day, you know, 15 minutes ahead of time, and is positive, he's happy, and with that you can teach and learn, right? It's worked out well. Sure, he's been really
I also noticed that when you're doing your training, there isn't just the simple training that goes on. You have a really good setup where there's training specifically for, say, the cigarettes, training for OLG, all these different pieces, and they're required, but they're also done at each candidate's pace.
Absolutely.
So if someone is struggling, there's ways to help them.
Yeah, everyone learns differently, right? And you kind of have to adapt to that. It's not all the same for everyone, right? Some are a little quicker, some are computer-based, some are reading-based, some are more hands-on, and I think it's more hands-on nowadays. Most of our employees read How to Win Friends and Influence People.
I love that. You came in and told me about that, and that's one that I think, even with our candidates, it should be something that they look at. It's a really great read, and I think that no matter what you're doing, you can connect it to regular life as much as your
Work
business life.
Yeah. I just find they don't know how to deal with people one-on-one anymore because they're so glued to their cell phones now. So this kind of gives them a base of how to actually interact with customers, which is a thing that's going by the wayside lately, you know?
And also during COVID, people didn't have to deal with people anymore.
Absolutely.
They did everything by phone. They did everything by, you know, on Teams and on Zoom. So
got the connection of the people connection.
Exactly. You'll find, especially in your industry, that's needed. You have to be able to connect
Talk to customers.
Right.
It's not like in our lube shop, we don't have just one person that deals with the customers. All 3 employees interact with the customers, so I need good communication skills, eye contact skills, and speaking to customers.
Do you have any other benefits that you see to having Agilec in Innisfil?
Well, I like the fact that it's so close, and you know what, you try to support other businesses in our community. And it, honestly, for me, dealing with them, it takes the stress out of me for hiring, because that's one of the toughest parts. So what saves me time to actually work on my business more so than doing that type of end of it, right?
And we can find out which candidates are motivated. One of the things that we are adamant about is having candidates that are motivated, candidates that are willing to show up, candidates that understand that if you're not going to be able to make your shift for any reason, that you actually call in and let the employer know. And not just that, to be there on time or early for your shifts, just like you were talking about.
Those are prerequisites, absolutely, for any job, not
Right?
just my job, you know, like.
And getting along with other employees.
That's huge too.
There seems to be a disconnect.
And especially when I got a staff from 16 all the way to 55.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it was such a diverse range from men to women in that age group. How you deal with one's not how you deal with the others. How you get along with one and how the other ones get along at different age categories, and that it's a challenge.
In Innisfil, we only have a few large employers, and out of those, they're pretty much in the same industries. So we're hoping that when another employer listens and hears the success that you've had, that maybe they'll get involved. And I was hoping maybe you could talk a little bit about how important it is for other industries here to actually get involved and work with Agilec to find the right candidates.
Absolutely. You know, once you get the groundwork done with you, which doesn't really take too much because you already know what the job description is for your employee anyways, so you just got to pass that along to them. And then they do most of the work for you, you know, minus the final thing. So it's kind of a no-brainer because at the end of it all, you're the final decision maker. If you don't like that as the employer, right? So you're the final decision maker at the end of it all. So it's no sweat off you to try these things, right? And thought I'd try something different. Next thing you know, like 8 years later, I do all my hiring through them.
It is nice to know that when you've gone through so many different people where they, like you said, they didn't show up, or job seekers are actually ghosting employers, they don't realize in this town, that's a big issue because employers talk to each other. So if you're going to ghost one employer, they may talk to another employer, and you may find yourself looking in another town for a job. So I just wanted to talk about the skills that are involved with working for Alcona Esso, because you not only have the customer service end at the gas station, you also have the oil and lube section. And there are so many different skills that are involved, and I think that it's important for people to know, especially if there happen to be job seekers looking and they realize, oh, I don't want to work at a gas station, but they hear what you have, and all of a sudden they think, hey, I can do that.
Absolutely. Because you know what? We've got so many outlets here and have to be fast paced, right? You don't just work in the lube. You may have to help out here in the store, helping the young girls out. Helping the car wash out, all that type of stuff too, right? So it's not just a one thing. But you know what? I look to the younger staff for social media help and computer help and all that type of stuff. So you know what? It's quite a well-rounded thing. Not just oil change, and not just store, you know?
Yeah, because you have the convenience store, which is, so you have the gas station, you have propane, you have the coffee
and donut drive.
And then in the oil and lube, like you said, you have the car wash. You have the oil and lube.
It's just air filters, wiper blades, lights, tire plugs, and all that type of stuff.
So definitely, like you had said at one point to me when you and I were talking, it's a one-stop shop. And when it comes to skills, you're learning a lot of skills that can get you into that mechanic trade.
Absolutely.
Really great. Well, I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to go through this with me, to talk about your business, because that's really important, people knowing what you do here.
Absolutely.
But to definitely talk about how great it is to work with these candidates that come from all over.
It's teamwork though, you know what I mean? Like it's good hard work, and you guys find out good people, and that's what you guys do for a living. You know? Interview people and read people, and you know, look at resumes and critique resumes and call references and ask all those proper questions. That's not my forte, right? Like we do the best we can. However, leave it up to the experts.
And I do love that teamwork, but I also love the fact that you're willing to work with candidates that are young, candidates that are new to the area, new to the community. They're new, they may be completely new to the industry.
Absolutely.
So, and some people that have been out of the workforce for a long time and are just coming coming back into the
Absolutely,
workforce.
absolutely.
So-
Young and old, you
Yeah.
know, that can't find jobs when they get a little older.
Right.
Those are my cup of tea, to be honest with you.
Because they're dedicated and
yeah.
definitely on time.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Well, thank
beautiful.
you so much for
Thank you
letting
very
me
much.
come into your business, and
Yeah, no problem.
and I look forward to working with you on a regular basis.
Thank you so much.